Josh Trunkvist here for Heavy Debriefings, and I think it's a good amount of time, doing this about 11 years now, coming close on 11 and a half. I think it's about time to put up where I really stand on some things. And I'm going to start off with saying, gatekeeping sucks. Yes, I know it's never going to go away. I know me making this video is not going to make you think differently. If you have your thoughts about certain bands or certain genres, it's not going to change your mind. And if you're going to put in the comments anything that's like hateful towards me personally, realize that I am a 34-year-old suicide survivor 9 times over, with more childhood trauma that you can fit into an orphanarium. Anything that you write in the comments that's going to be talking crap about me, I have heard so much worse when I was growing up. So anything that you put in the comments is either going to be something that I've already heard or pales in comparison to what I've had to grow up with. So rather than sit here and try to complain about my take on gatekeeping and why people should enjoy what they enjoy, maybe either think about what I said or just click off the video, or maybe even listen to what I have to say and maybe take something from it. At least a new perspective, if nothing else. Now, with that said, I just keep seeing it all the time, and there's so many great examples that I can use of bands that constantly get crapped on over and over again that I don't feel are worth crapping on. Now, there's a main reason that comes to fruition, and that's because the more popular a band becomes, the more hate that comes along with it. And when that happens, you open the door to more people discovering who you are, and of course, negative always outweighs positive. That's why the stuff that I do, like when I do interviews, when I do reviews and all that stuff, I don't like talking crap about people or bands or artists or genres or anything like that. Even though there's stuff that's not for me, I know they're for somebody else. And that's fine. Not everything is meant to be for me. Not everything's meant to be for you either. And you talking garbage about it isn't going to make people stop listening to that band, or that song, or that album, or that artist, or that genre. If anything, the more that you talk crap about it, if someone's discovering it because of all the attention that it's getting and people like yourself who constantly rags on it and talks about like how terrible the new Slipknot album is, I can't say I haven't heard it. Or they talk about how bad Ghost is, which Ghost has never put out a bad album in my opinion. Or if you want to talk about Five Finger Death Punch, which is such an easy target, an easy punch bag. Like, don't you want to punch a little higher, maybe punch above your weight class or something to show something, prove something about yourself? Wouldn't that be a lot easier than doing everything that you're doing now? Maybe not. But the more that you rag about something to someone and they're hearing about it for the first time from you complaining, they're gonna check it out. So you talking about how something is garbage or shit or bad or whatever negative connotation you want to put behind it, you're giving them exposure. You're telling people about them, and if you talk about them enough, the human condition is going to go, well, how bad can it possibly be? And they'll check it out, and there's every possibility they'll hate it as much as there is every possibility that they'll also love it. So you're doing the opposite of what you're trying to achieve. If you really want a band to go away, they have to not be liked. They have to stop being talked about. They have to stop making headlines. They have to stop being in the zeitgeist of rock and metal. And if you keep bringing them up, whether you love them, hate them, or feel indifferent, if you keep talking about them online, that's exposing more people to them who might enjoy them or hate them or feel indifferent to them, and they're going to check them out. And there's more than enough people who do have that glutton for punishment mentality where they listen to stuff that they don't like just so they have a reason to bitch and complain. And that is just really fucking stupid. There is so much good music out there. There is so many bands that you've probably never heard going on right now or in the recent past that you've never checked out before because you don't want to check out new music anymore. Because you think that all the good music is in the past. Or you think no one's ever going to recreate the music that you loved growing up. Or, all today's bands suck because they all sound the same, which is clearly bullshit. It's not true. And then people put up these false equivalencies that just don't make any sense, and I think Ghost is another great example of that. Ghost does not sound like Nickelback. At all. Ghost does not sound like Scooby-Doo. At all. They were a band that took occult rock and heavy metal, and then decided to take that foundation and make it more. They incorporated more 70s rock, more 70s metal, 70s prog, and now on their most recent album, they're doing more 80s prog, and 80s rock and 80s metal. And there's a little bit of Faith No More in the song 20s, which, upon first listen, is not the easiest listen, but upon re-listens, it's not just an earworm. It's a good fucking song. It has a great Danny Elfman meets Faith No More feel. And if you go within a new perspective of it, it's not their worst song. And like I mentioned with Five Finger Death Punch, like they're so easy to hate on, and yeah, they deserve a lot of the hate that they get for reasons that I really don't need to get into. Although almost 100% of that hate goes to Ivan Moody, who is now quitting metal. Thanks to doing one more Death Punch album, whatever that last one's going to be, and either that's going to be the end of the band, or they're going to find a new singer, or maybe they'll continue on under a new name, or they'll all go their own different ways. I don't know. And I'm not a Five Finger Death Punch defender. If you listen to my shows, you listen to my interviews, reviews, I never bring them up because they're not my style. Even though I know their drummer Charlie very, very well. I know him, but he is making some music that was never meant for me, and that's just fine. And he's more than capable of the music that he's doing in Five Finger Death Punch. If you ever heard his album with Scale of Summits, or if you ever heard any of his solo work, it is jaw-dropping what he is capable of. But he's making more money than he ever has with Five Finger Death Punch, and how could you possibly be upset about that? How he's making money in an industry that's making less money. Rock and metal music. Shit on that all you want to. If you're a drummer and you got offered a gig like that, you know how hard that would be to actually turn down? I couldn't. I know I'd never get asked, but if I got the offer to do that, I would have said yes. Of course I would. It would have been fucking awesome. And yeah, you do have to end up being a punching bag. You have to see all the memes, all the comments, all the toxic social media bullshit that goes on. And again, some of that is rightfully so. But also, you can't complain about that money either. But again, to my original point, if you constantly bag on Five Finger Death Punch, if you constantly bag on them, do you ever just think the music's not for you? That you weren't meant to enjoy that music? That there might be a band out there that you actually do enjoy? Like, it's so simple nowadays. You have Spotify, you have Apple, you have Tidal, you have YouTube. You can get almost any single album you've ever wanted to hear. Any album that you want to discover. Almost everything. Exceptions do apply. You can check it out on some kind of streaming or downloading program, app, or store. There's no excuse to not check out new music, other than the fact that you simply don't fucking want to. And you want to be stuck in your bubble for whatever reason you have. And if that's your prerogative, fine. But for you to shit on new music without actually listening to it, or giving it a fair shot, or going out of your way to check out something that might be for you, that's on you. Now, I am very fortunate where I'm in that position where I get promos every single day. I've never run out of new music, ever. I'm always discovering something new, and if I'm not getting a promo from any of the PR or labels or bands that I get to interview or work with or do reviews for, I'm checking out new music on my own on things like Bandcamp, or checking out recommendations on Spotify, or seeing what other people are saying on YouTube, or checking out what my friends say on social media about bands that I may not be familiar with. There's no excuse not to check out new music unless you don't want to. And the same goes with that as well too, where if you are stuck in that bubble and say you do want to spend $600 on some Blink-182 tickets and end up paying like $1,200 for a pair of tickets, bless you. You have every right to spend that money that you want to spend. You have every single right to go see a band that you want to go see. And you shouldn't be bullied to go see 7 local bands for $7 that you may not even enjoy. I don't like the idea that you need to support your local metal scene. For one, the world is now local because we are all connected. Some of my best friends don't even live in this country, let alone my time zone or state. I reckon I don't have anyone that considers me a friend in Minnesota. My idea of local is social media, because that's the circle of friends that I keep. It doesn't have to be the ones that I see at shows and, oh, you're just stuck together by proxy because, you know, it's just like when you're in school and you're stuck being friends with someone that you don't even want to be friends with just because you're by each other. That's not the way it needs to work. The world needs to work. So yeah, the world is local. Second, there's a reason why a lot of local bands are local bands. One is because they want to stay weekend warriors and just want to play, you know, Friday, Saturday shows. You know, play within their city limits or maybe potentially go out of state once in a great while. And they have every right to do that because, you know, it's a lot of money. Gas is still high, inflation's still going on. And going to a different state to play for pennies on the dollar just to impress the other bands or try to, well, here's a little secret. Local bands don't really support each other. They just want you to support their band. They constantly shit on each other behind each other's backs. And if any band actually does break out of the local scene, they judge them forever because they are so fucking jealous that they did something that they wanted to do that they simply could not do or chose not to do. I'm sorry, did I say that? Anyways, yeah. There's a lot of local bands that are just never gonna break out of their local scene. And a lot of local bands are not that good. There's a lot of bands that don't work on practice. There's a lot of bands that don't work on finding their own sound. There's a lot of bands that don't put a lot of time and effort into making their songs sound good on a recording. And if you don't put in the time and effort into your own band, why would you force other people to put their time and effort into something that you won't even spend time on and you're the one creating it? It's not just my local scene, it's every local scene. Every local scene has that band where they had members that were gonna go somewhere someday, man. There's always that band that's gonna be, I'm better than everyone else here. Why am I not the one that's making it out there? There's always gonna be that band that has that technical prowess that is just absolutely jaw-dropping, but nobody cares. There's gonna be that band that's derivative that might actually make it. And of course, there's the band that's filled with members of other bands that sound like their other bands. That's every single scene. And when you break out of that scene, when you try to do something different, that's when you should be taken a bit more seriously rather than just doing the same venues, playing with the same bands, and not making an effort. You're not making new recordings, you're not playing to new audiences, you're not trying to open for bands, you're not trying to do anything other than just impress the other local bands. So you can see how it works on a global scale, you can see how it works on a local scale, well, local. The thing to keep in mind with your gatekeeping when you keep shitting on other bands is that other bands might like the same music that you do. The ones that you're trying to gatekeep might like some bands that you like as well. And most importantly, People are allowed to like whatever the fuck they want to. You know how many times I've been called derogatory terms by past band members for liking prog? Do you know how many people have done the same thing for me liking death metal and black metal? I've never fit into anywhere because I'm not trying to fit into one situation. I'm just trying to like the music that I like. And I try to have a well-rounded, broad, eccentric listening habit because that's what I enjoy. And I love the fact that I can go from Godspeed You Black Emperor to Exhumed. I love that I can go from Emperor to Dredge. I love the fact that I can listen to Triptychon to Annul. I love the fact that I can listen to Triptychon to Annul Nathrak. There's so many great bands to enjoy. And I'm in a fortunate position where not only do I get to check out these bands, but I do everything in my power to be able to show off all of this great music, whether the band's been around for 50 years or 5 months. Good music comes from everywhere. And if you're not willing to check it out, that's on you. You shitting on the music that you don't like doesn't make you look special. It doesn't make you cool. It just makes you look like a fucking asshole. Get over yourself about music you didn't even create. If someone wants to spend $1,200 on a pair of tickets to Blink-182, fucking let them. If you want to see a band that uses backing tracks to be able to cover all the instruments that they can't afford to be able to bring out on tour, or to be able to have a metronome in their in-ear monitors so they can all play on time and be able to present the best show that they possibly can, fucking let them. If you want to see a band that's just guitar, bass, drums, and vocals that don't require any of that and just want to be able to put on a great hard rock and metal show, you should fucking go if you want to. Or if you don't want to go to a fucking show, if you just want to listen to the music, if you just want to listen to it on Spotify, if you want to buy the vinyl or CD, but however you want to choose to listen to music, it's out there, legally, for free, to be able to check out at home. And if you want to go see those bands, and if they're coming near you, or if you want to make a trip to go see them, go fucking see them. Don't let anyone tell you to go see this band instead. And finally, local bands, international bands, there's no hierarchy of what's better and what's not. You are the only person who gets to decide the music that you enjoy. If you let others dictate it for you, you need a better life. Obviously, get suggestions from other people, but you're the one who gets to decide if you like something or not. Don't like something just to fit in. Don't like something just to appear cool. Don't like something just to try to get laid. That shit doesn't work, and it's very unfulfilling. Be you. Listen to what you want to listen to. If you want to go to an MC Chris show, and then you want to go ahead and go home and listen to a Dark Throne album, and then the very next night you go see Blink-182, fucking awesome. You're enjoying music, you're enjoying what you want to enjoy. Anyone who has a problem with that, you don't need in your life. Social media is real life, despite what some people say, because we spend so much of our lives on social media. At least a lot of us do. I mean, some people don't, obviously, but if you're checking this out, you potentially might. And that is real life to you because you spend your real life on it, and you don't get those minutes back. So why spend the time fighting with other people about something like visual or audio art? You like what you like, they like what they like. If you can find common ground to be able to enjoy stuff together, fucking awesome. If you can't, fuck them. Thank you so very much for tuning in. This is Josh Runquist for the Heavy Debriefings podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like it. If you don't, I understand why. And until next time, this is Josh Runquist saying, see ya.